just mentally preparing myself for the inevitable backlash of this video. Be calm. It's okay. Hey everyone, it's Amy and welcome back to my channel, unless you are new, in which case, hey, first time welcome. I hope you decide to stick around and join us and our little family. Today's video. This is the video I always swore that I would never film. When I left Kuwait, I swore to myself that I would never make another video about it, just because of the sheer amount of hatred, like vehement hatred, that I got on any of my vlogs or videos about life in Kuwait. I've been on YouTube for a long time. I've been making videos for years from all over the world in all these different countries, and this was the first time that I had ever felt truly and deeply hated. Up until that point, I never really got any hate comments. I considered myself to be pretty inoffensive, but something about those videos really irritated a lot of people, to the point where I am still getting comments on the daily telling me what a terrible person I am, to get the F out of Kuwait, even though I haven't lived there in like a long time. I'm gone. You can stop shouting at me now. So I was like ready to never make another video like that again, but this is by far the most requested video of all time on my channel. And I understand why, because for a lot of you, you're looking at my videos and trying to figure out whether you want to move to the Middle East, do you want to move to Kuwait, do you want to move to Bahrain? It's a big life choice, and to have someone who's here in this situation, it's comforting to get someone's experience and opinion if they've already lived through it. So I understand that it is valuable information, but I've held off on doing it because I was scared. But you know what, if it's gonna serve you guys and it's gonna be useful to you, I can take the name calling for a few more months. So if you couldn't tell from the title, this video is going to be kind of like a Kuwait versus Bahrain, not in a which is better kind of situation, but more just comparing the two from an expat's point of view. What are the good points, what are the bad points of both of those places, just for those of you who are considering making the move. So that's what we're gonna do, and please know that this is just me trying to be helpful and give my opinion based on my own experience. All I have in this life is my experience. I don't have your experience. I don't have your grandmother's experience, your dog's best friend's experience. I don't know what that's like, so I can just share mine, and please respect that and let's go. So first, I just want to give you guys a little bit of context. I lived in Kuwait for 10 months. I'm coming up on 9 months in Bahrain, so I feel like I've lived in both places long enough to give, you know, kind of an overview. I have some opinions, but it's not going to be anything super in-depth as if I'd lived there for like 10 years. I think both places have their good points and their bad points, and that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. So the first thing that sticks out to me, and was kind of the driving factor towards me moving to Bahrain, is that I just find there's a lot more to do here and a lot more to do in my free time. I don't know if it was just the area that I was living in Kuwait, because I know it was a little bit out in the middle of nowhere almost, and there wasn't much to do there. I lived in this place called Khaitan, which anytime I would say that to someone, they'd have this face like, why are you living in Khaitan? What are you doing there? So I don't know that it was necessarily the best place to live in Kuwait, but that was where I had to live because that was where they put me. So it could have had something to do with the location I was in, but I always felt like there wasn't very much to do. Like, it would get to be the weekend and I'd be like, yay, weekend, and then I would pretty much just like watch Netflix all weekend, because there wasn't a lot that was catching my eye to go out and do. Really, it came down to shopping, which I will say the shopping in Kuwait is like the best shopping in the world. It's really good. And the food. The food is amazing. So all I did was spend a bunch of money and get kind of fat, which I didn't really want to do either of those things. But there wasn't a lot that was really out there that was particularly well advertised as things to do. Maybe there were a lot of like secret fun things, but I wasn't aware of them. In Bahrain, there is always something going on. I never feel bored. I actually never feel like I get a second to just chill out because there is so much happening all the time. Like there are special nights for teachers, there are trivia nights, there's brunch, there's like pool parties, there's always a new place opening, a new restaurant to go to, there'll be like an event. There's always something to do, and it's a really social place. It is so easy to go out and make friends, which I think is a huge deal if you are moving to a new country, because when you start to feel isolated and you start to feel like, I don't have anywhere to go, I don't have anyone to talk to, that is when you're gonna feel like, I don't want to do this anymore, I want to go home. I don't get a second to feel that way in Bahrain because I'm always so busy making new friends, going new places, and that's what I like. I like a quick, fast pace of life, so that suits me really well. I also feel like it's easier to meet people in Bahrain than it ever was for me to meet people in Kuwait. Again, I do think that's really down to the area that I was put in Kuwait. In any country with a large number of expats, you're gonna have these little like hot pockets of little expat communities that maybe it's people from the same kinds of places or who do the same kinds of jobs. And I lived outside of that in Kuwait, so it's very difficult for me to meet new people. But in Bahrain, I live in Jaffa, which if you know Bahrain, Jaffa is one of those places. Some people love it, some people hate it. I love it, and it is very Western. That's not to say that you want to go to a new place and like remove yourself from the culture, or you don't want to meet people who are local to the country. It's just that when you have a lot of people around you who speak your language, who understand your culture, who have had similar experiences to you, it just gives you a sense of belonging. And I think if you've ever moved to a new country, you probably understand that. That is something that you can definitely find in Bahrain, because my next point is that Bahrain is a lot more westernized than Kuwait. We still have like call to prayer, and you still have Ramadan, and it's a nice, I like being part of this culture. I find it really interesting and I've learned so much, but it does have a lot of Western vibes also, because alcohol is legal in Bahrain. You can eat bacon in Bahrain, which doesn't interest me because I'm vegetarian anyway, but if you wanted to, you could. So it's a lot more Western thinking than in Kuwait, where, you know, there is no bacon, which again, I don't care about. There was no alcohol, which didn't particularly bother me either, but you have to be a little bit more covered up. It's just a different vibe, and I think that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I feel more at home here because it's more familiar to me. One thing that definitely is better about Kuwait is the money, because the Kuwaiti dinar is the strongest currency in the world. The Kuwaiti dinar is so strong that the wage is higher if you're converting it back into pounds. So I took a very substantial pay cut to come work in Bahrain. So if you are thinking about moving to the Middle East to make some bucks, some big bucks, then I think Kuwait is the best option for you. I can only speak as a teacher. I think Kuwait is one of the best paid countries in the world for teachers. I don't know about other jobs because I've never had those other jobs, so I don't know. But I know that for teaching, I got paid a whack more in Kuwait than I do in Bahrain. And also, a lot of people ask me, so I just want to cover this, how do you become a teacher in Kuwait? Now, my experience of this is that you do not have to have a teaching qualification to teach in Kuwait. In fact, most of the people I worked with in Kuwait didn't have a teaching qualification. I worked with one person who didn't even have a degree. So people are asking me like, what kind of teaching qualification do I need to work in Kuwait? And I think depending on the school, maybe you don't even need one. I mean, just apply, show what evidence you have that you've worked with children, show that you are not a criminal and that you can speak fluent English, and they'll be like, come on in, you sound like a great candidate. That's not true of all schools for definite, but it is true of some, and I can guarantee you that. So I feel like those are the main differences between my experience in Kuwait and my experience in Bahrain. Those were just some general points. There's not a huge amount of things that I can nitpick and be like, oh well, this was better here and that was better there, because both have been good experiences. I just think, like I said, that Bahrain is better suited to me and my personality and my way of life. If you're deciding to move to the Middle East and you don't know whether to go to Kuwait or Bahrain, then it really comes down to what are you looking to get out of the experience. If you would be more comfortable living somewhere a little bit more liberal and a little bit more Western, then I would say to go to Bahrain. If you are looking to make some money and have more of an in-depth cultural experience, then I would say go to Kuwait. Both places are really safe. Both places have really low crime rates. Both places are an excellent opportunity to try something new, and both places are fine for women. This is a big question I always get asked, like, what's it like to be a woman living in the Middle East? And I think I'll make a whole video about that, because I could talk about that for days. So if you guys would like to see that, let me know in the comments down below. I can give you all kinds of tips and tricks and my experience of being a woman in the Middle East if you'd like to hear about it. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about this. Anytime you move to a new country with a new culture, you're going to get culture shock. It's going to be different. It's going to be a little bit tricky to settle in sometimes. But if you can just try and like get on board with the culture and fit in as much as possible and just take the good with the bad, then you're going to have a good experience. So with that said, I would like to thank you all very much for watching this video today. If you enjoyed it, then please go ahead and give it a thumbs up to let me know. Leave me some comments, only nice ones. Only nice ones. I can't deal with any more people telling me I'm a terrible person. If you haven't already, please go ahead and click that subscribe button to become a member of our Oddball family. For those of you who have already subscribed, thank you guys so much. You are my oddballs and I love you. Don't forget to go and check out my new vlog channel, because that will give you a much better insight into what it's like to live in Bahrain, because I'll be taking you around with me for the ride. I will link it down below. And until next time, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all so much, and I will see you all soon. Bye.